This is my vlog for week 11 of student teaching, and once again it was a great week. We started out the week with finishing the sunflower in all the classes, and it's kind of been a long time coming for this memoir to be finished, but the end of this memoir, which is like I've said, like a what would you do kind of thing, elicited some of the most thoughtful, deep conversation and discussion that I've had with these kids. And they've had, these amazing discussions already, but with getting to the end of the memoir and just really thinking about it, the depth of discussion was absolutely amazing. And I show a little bit of it in one class that finished a few days earlier, in one of my micro teaching videos. And I'm just so impressed with them, with their ability to think on their feet in discussion like that, and just everything. After we finished the sunflower, we moved to looking more at soldiers' lives during World War II, because we've been doing a lot of Holocaust stuff with the sunflower and the boy in the striped pajamas and all that. So we moved to letters from the front. So we did an activity where students looked at different V-mail letters from soldiers, and got to see real victory mail, analyze the letters, figure out, these letters were censored, so some stuff was missing from them, and then they found out that they were going to be writing their own letters. So they wrote their own letters, and they all wrote these really great letters using all of their knowledge from social studies, talking about World War II, and from English, talking about the Holocaust and also World War II. So using all of that knowledge, and also, making it emotional, writing home to friends or loved ones, or, they just assumed the identities of the soldiers or the nurses or correspondent, and they got really into it. Some of them pretended they were writing home to a husband or a wife or something like that. And then the next step after that was, after writing, to film it, adding a modern twist to it. So, soldiers today send video messages home a lot of the time to their loved ones. So they got to go outside, and we had tons of some authentic World War II gear that some students brought in, and just camo, stuff like that to make them look like soldiers or nurses. And they got to dress up, go outside, really assume the identity of the person who is writing, and film their letters home. It went even better than I could have imagined. They really, really got into it and created some really cool videos, and they got so into being the characters. And what was especially great to see was that so many of my students who don't normally speak up or don't normally seem that engaged or excited about anything were so excited to put on all this World War II gear and get to go run around outside and film a video. But it wasn't just playtime. They really had amazing letters that, they kind of ad-libbed with in the video and pretended that they were real soldiers. And we did kind of a debrief afterwards, and I asked them about, how did filming it versus just writing your letter help you to assume that identity. And they all said that when you're speaking it, and when you're in those clothes, and you can feel, the weight of the backpack and the weight of all of the helmet and all of that gear, that you really feel like the soldier. And when you're saying the words in your letter, that they come alive. And so, obviously I couldn't have asked for a better way for that activity to end. It was great. And so I'm editing them to this weekend, just putting them all on a disc so that the kids can have them. And then on Friday was the introduction to the mural that the kids are making next week for my last week. We're kind of revisiting the sunflower, and we watched part of a video called the Sunflower Project that was through the National Writing Project a few years ago with I guess the National Writing Project posted it. But it was a school in Idaho that was a charter school, so they were reading The Sunflower for months. And then they decided that after reading such a heavy memoir and doing, talking about forgiveness, which is really, really heavy and just weighs on you a lot, that they thought the best way to express the way they felt about it was through art, which is something I love to do. I love drawing and artistic stuff like that. So decided to do it with my kids. And what's going to happen is on Friday, they started their mock-ups of what they're going to paint, but we're going to do watercolors. And on Friday, we talked about visualizing, and they closed their eyes, and we talked about the sunflower a little bit, and then they drew like what they saw. And so a lot of them were drawing, that symbol of the sunflower, but with the barbed wire fence going around it, or there were so many different things that they drew. We talked about symbolism and different symbols, and using, trying not to use many words in it, just using really powerful visual symbols to elicit an emotion from the viewer. We talked about that, and so they started drawing, and they're finishing their sketches this weekend. And on Monday, they'll come in, and each student will get their own piece of watercolor paper and sketch their drawings on and start to paint. I think it's going to be a really relaxing and fun way to end the unit, to kind of release the heavy emotions that come along with talking about the Holocaust and World War II, because it kind of, we've been doing this unit for close to 6 weeks. It's really starting to get kind of like heavy. So I think that just painting, even for the kids that are kind of like, oh, I'm not good at painting, I don't want to do this, I think they'll see, especially with watercolors, because it's not a precise art. It's kind of something everyone can do. So I think that they'll all really enjoy it. And so they each have their own piece of watercolor paper, and then we're going to turn it into a mural by kind of collaging them all onto the wall to create one big picture. So they'll each have their own little piece of the mural, their own stamp on what we thought about the sunflower. So I can't wait for that. I'm hoping that it can get finished before I leave. I don't want to rush them with painting and everything like that, but hopefully we can, on Thursday, on the last day, that can be where we actually go and place their pictures into the mural. We're not sure where it's going to be in the school yet. It might just be outside of our room. We do have permission to put them in the cafeteria, which could be very cool, or maybe up in the main building. I'm not sure. We're going to have to see. But I think that they're going to turn out really, really well. Oh, what else happened this week? On Friday, my cooperating student teacher from last year came in for 5th period and lunch and Titan time, and that was really cool. It's always great to meet other people from the profession and from, this program, and see where they end up and everything. And so that was, a very cool thing to happen. Other than that, I can't believe that next week's the last week. During one of my observations, Katie asked, "Are you ready for it to be done?" or something along those lines, and I said no. I'm not. I think it is time for it to be over, but I'm definitely not ready to say goodbye to these kids, and they're just kind of now starting to really realize that it's next week that I'm leaving, and it's getting kind of sad. But I think that just painting together and, kind of doing something relaxed and fun for the last week will be a great end to everything. So I'm excited to see how all of that goes.